Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce myself. My name is Jana Majerova, and I am Associated Professor and Guarantee of the Field of Study Marketing Communication at AMBIS University, Prague, Czech Republic. In my scientific career, I am focusing on the topics brand management, CSR, and these two main topics are also reflected in my presentation, which I would like to share with you today. So please let me share the screen and we can start with the results of my current research. So I'm sharing the screen. It should work. Yes, here we are, and we can start. The topic of my presentation is focused on regional disparities of behavioral aspects of brand management. Why such a topic? This topic is very important for us because we can follow some really serious convergences between brand theory here in the region of Central Europe and former, let's say, post-Soviet part countries, and the official and really best practice titled Foreign Theory of Brand Value Building and Management. At this slide, we can see two main definitions of brand management. The first one has been created by Taylor in 2007. In the same time, there is also definition from Keller. According to Taylor, brand management is a functional mechanism of marketing that uses specific techniques aimed at increasing the subjectively perceived value of the product by consumers. This is so-called brand equity, in such a way as to build a loyal consumer base through positive brand associations and strong brand awareness. Similarly, Keller states that the brand management is the process of identifying the so-called key value of a certain product and the subsequent building and dilution of this value, focusing on the target consumer segment. What is important for us is that the value and perceived value and value sources are the pillars of optimal brand management, because if we would like to manage a brand, we have to manage its value in the first place. But it's impossible to do that in general, because we have to focus on a specific segment of a market. In our case, it is a target consumer segment, which we would like to convert into a loyal segment of consumers, because brand loyalty is very important in the process of effective brand value building and management. However, when we analyze regional disparities in the theory of branding, we can see the following. According to Kotler, from the end of 20th century, and since this time, the definition has not been overcome. A brand is a name, title, sign, artistic expression, or a combination of the previous elements. Its purpose is to distinguish the goods or services of one seller or group of sellers from the goods or services of competitors. We can see that the aspect of image is really highlighted in this definition. On the other hand, according to regional Slovak author Antonia Štensová, the term brand can be understood as a visible or otherwise perceptible identifying mark. The label is intended to provide the consumer various information about the properties of the product, its use, and handling. What is important is this definition is the aspect of a label. It means that the brand in its pure, let's say, American or Western understanding is somehow denied, in the theory and practice of Slovak brand management, not only Slovak, but also Central European. And this fact has to be followed by brand managers who would like to introduce their brands on specific markets or manage the brand value on these markets. It means that we can see that there is a really significantly different understanding of what is a key value of a brand. It means what are relevant brand value sources, status or qualitative brand value sources. With this question, we can state, let's say, geographical or even political, the paradigm West versus East, which has been somehow theoretically based by the previous slide, where it has been really obvious that there is different understanding of brand value sources in typical market economics and economics which has been transformed from a centrally planned. So, when we analyze in details the brand theory, which has been created and formulated so far, we can see that according to the Voss Weaver, there are 6 main research topics in the last 5 years. It is brand perception, brand elements, branding, brand community, new trends, and strategic branding. You can see also the numbers which are shown on the presentation. These are not the numbers of papers. It doesn't matter whether it would be paper from journal or conference, because the quantity of the publications focused on the branding, brand management, and brand value is really, really high. The numbers which are shown in the brackets here are following the quantity of the subcategories, which together form the total category or cluster or group of the research topics which have been identified in this way. When we analyze the territorial profile of records in Web of Science, we can see that the main part of the theory of brand value building and management is from Europe. Europe is followed by South and North America, and then it is Australia and Oceania, Asia and Africa. But when we analyze regional structure in details according to the countries, we can see that the leading country is United States, then it is China and Great Britain. What's important for us when we follow the basic theoretical and also the basic platform of our research itself is that only almost 10% of records is originating from Europe, and especially from countries which historically incline towards quality as the primary source of brand value. In other words, former post-Soviet influenced countries. At the first place, there is Romania, then it's Poland and Slovakia. So the question is, how do these markets react to the application of, let's say, foreign brand management models? And now we can say that we can observe the so-called cycle of the illusion of good practice. And this is a really very harming to the brand value practice, to the brand value management, and it is also a possible reason of problems of brands on the national markets. So how such cycle goes? First of all, domestic brands apply inappropriate brand management models. When we speak about inappropriate brand management models, we think about models which have been originated in countries with different perception of key brand value sources. So, in reaction to this application, the value of the brand stagnates or even decreases on national market, and we can observe the loss of competitive potential of domestic brands. Then the managerial crisis of brand management starts, and later on we can also see the deformation of the market and a decrease in the share of domestic brands. This deformation can be the reason of creating the so-called illusion of good practice, which means that the situation of foreign brands is also more strengthened, and that the value of foreign brands is higher in comparison with the national brands which followed the inappropriate brand management models and patterns. So, what is the reason of such a situation and what to do? We are speaking about inappropriate models. We are speaking about models where the brand value is perceived differently among countries. And we can see that the situation with the patterns, models, and theories of brand management in a regional perspective is really dangerous for countries like Slovakia, because we have seen that Chinese authors and authors from United States are leading authors in the theory and practice of brand value management. It's absolutely normal and logic, not only due to the development of the branding schools in these countries, but also due to the quantity of authors. But what is important for us, and where we have to pay our attention, if we are from theory or from practice, is that there are really significant convergences between national sociocultural profiles. When we are speaking about this profile, we are speaking about the model of Gerd Hofstede, and this model works with 6 main dimensions: power distance, individualism, masculinity, uncertainty avoidance, long-term orientation, and indulgence. These 6 dimensions originally characterized labor market and employees on a regional basis. However, we can extend this profile also on consumers, and with this perspective, we can see that the differences between leading countries in a branding theory and a country like Slovak Republic, which is really very specific due to its historical and political development in the majority of 20th century, so that the profiles are really convergent and different. That if brand value managers would like to be effective, they shouldn't apply the models and patterns, even if they are formulated like a best practice, without any appropriate revision. So, first of all, it is important to cluster countries where the models could be applied and where the revision is needed. Why to do that? It is because really global brands operate on supra-regional markets, and it's not effective to analyze each market individually. So the cluster analysis of OECD countries is here to cluster countries where similar patterns and models could be applied. What we did to provide cluster analysis in our research, first of all, we created a data matrix. Here we had variables, it means attributes of the social-cultural profile in M columns. Then we have objects in N rows. These objects were OECD countries where these characteristics were measured. And then each object, it means row of the source matrix, means the vector, is characterized by its sign. The clustering method was the so-called method of the nearest neighbor, and the distance has been measured by the so-called Euclidean distance. According to the cluster analysis of Hostede's sociocultural profiles, we can see that OECD countries have been grouped to 6 different clusters. In the first one, we have Australia, Canada, Ireland, New Zealand, Great Britain, and United States. Then it is Austria, Belgium, Czech Republic, France, Germany, Hungary, Italy, Japan, Luxembourg, and Switzerland. In the third cluster, we have Chile, Greece, Mexico, Poland, Portugal, Slovenia, Spain, and Turkey. In the fourth cluster, there is Estonia, Israel, Korea, and Latvia. In the fifth, it's Denmark, Finland, Ireland, Netherlands, Norway, and Sweden. And what is very interesting and important for us is that Slovak Republic is due to the really significant specifics in its own cluster. It means that each brand which would like to operate on Slovak market should really individually revise the specific of Slovak consumer and the perception of prospective brand value sources by the Slovak consumer. And what are the facts about Slovak consumer which are really important and relevant for the behavioral aspects of brand management? These are the facts. First of all, quality is perceived as the dominant source of brand value. When we are stating this, we are speaking about the level of dimension power distance. Then domestic brands are preferred to foreign brands as well as an active product policy in terms of innovation. This is focused or this is connected with the level of dimension masculinity. Third important finding is that progressive marketing concepts such as cause-related marketing or green marketing are not considered to be a source of brand value, since long-term orientation is manifested inwardly by the consumer in the sense of his selfish expressions and not outwardly in the sense of altruism or philanthropy. This is connected with the level of dimensional long-term orientation. The last very important thing, the fourth one, is that cognitively oriented decision-making process and a cautious approach to innovations are the characteristics of Slovak consumer in the brand's distribution policy with an emphasis on the consumer-seller relationship. And this finding is connected with a level of dimension indulgence. So these are the main facts about specifics of Slovak consumers and their perception of brand value. Thank you very much for your attention. In case of any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me, and I will be really happy if there would be any further discussion about the topic. Thank you very much. Bye.